So yeah, moving on to NBA. We'll be remiss not to talk about the NBA. We're not going to talk about any particular games. We're just going to talk about our view so far with the latest games in round one of the conference finals. Well, of the playoffs, I should say. Now, for those who don't know, the Raptors and Boston are through to the next stage. They swept their teams completely.
Oh, Miami too. Don't forget.
Miami as well. My bad, Chris. My bad. Miami as well. So we've got 3 teams already into the next round. It looks like there are going to be some more teams into the next round. Potentially the Bucks after this week. Potentially the Lakers. So shout down to my pick of Portland. It also looks, I think, so it's going to be interesting. One thing, games are looking like they're going to go maybe to the wire. You got the Jazz versus Denver. You've also got the Clippers and the Mavs, which they're 2-2 apiece, which is very interesting.
That one's sweet,
a badass boy. You also have the Rockets versus Thunders, which again goes down to my pick of thinking that the Rockets are going to do. The Rockets will do well.
That's the Chris Dan Bowl right there.
Yeah. So that sucks. Absolutely sucks. Don't ever listen to me for your fantasy picks. Trust me. And so yeah, you got to look at some other areas as well. And so we'll see. But Chris, what's your overall take so far on the latest games and what's happening?
My overall take. There's certain things that I noticed that I knew were going to come to fruition, and there's certain things that I'm just like in awe about. Real talk. Number one thing that I knew would come to fruition is Brett Brown gone. You can't have the substitute teacher coaching these professionals now where they're really trying to get to the next level. Yeah. You can't have the process coach trying to get them through to the next level. He's just not there. There was an interview that I think Rachel Nichols had with Jimmy Butler when Jimmy was talking about his time in... No, actually Jimmy was on the podcast with... what's a three-point shooter from... he plays for New Orleans now. Redick. There you go. Redick.
Yeah.
So he was on the podcast with Redick, and they were talking about the dysfunction that was going on in Philadelphia, and they had a meeting one time, and after the meeting, Jimmy came out and was like, I think I'm not returning to this place after, because there's no one knows what's going on. So when he gave me that insight, a little tidbit of the insight behind the scenes, I was like, yeah, Brett Brown gotta go. Can't get swept, even if you don't have... I mean, you didn't have Ben Simmons, but they just didn't look good. They didn't fight. And it was his time to go. Toronto looks really strong. Coming out of the East, I'm not gonna lie. They look poised to repeat. At least they look really, really good. I know Kyle Lowry just earned his ankle. Yes, the last game, so we'll have to monitor that to see how they will be going into the next round. But Toronto looks strong. Miami put their statement up against Indiana. You know, there was a little drama between Jimmy Butler and TJ Warren. Yeah, but obviously there's no beef there. Heat win 4-0. Good. The best series so far is Houston and OKC. I'm telling you, this is the Chris Dan Bowl. Dan picked Houston. Very solid pick. I'm not sure you knew if Westbrook was going to play or not. I didn't think you didn't know.
I knew he was out for, I think, the first 2 games. I did not think he was going to be out. He's still out right now. He's not. I don't think he's going to play.
Nah, it's day to day. They don't know. But
yeah, he's not.
They were still up 2-0. And I was telling you, don't count CP3 out. Don't count.
Yeah, he did. Guys, he actually did, to be fair. Because I felt, I'm not going to lie to you, when I saw everything, I said to Chris, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a sweep.
He says a sweep.
Chris was like, no, don't count them out. I was like, nah, it's gone. It's done.
And look, it's 2-2 now. Incredible series. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the game yesterday, but these guys were going back and forth, bucket after bucket. It just looked like 2 mentally strong teams that were just fighting it out, trying to get to the last, to get to the end. And we're at 2-2 now. I see the series going 7. OKC taking it. I'm going to stick to my pick, of course, because I like how they are now and their momentum. And big shout out to the Lakers not falling for Portland. Portland's hoodwink trick in terms of being strong in the beginning. They lost the first game, but the Lakers, my pick again, came out guns blazing, won the last 3 games. I expect them to possibly win the last one, win 4-1, move on to the second round. They got to rest LeBron and those guys to keep it moving for their championship push. My biggest disappointment so far is Paul George. Paul George in the playoffs has stunk it up. playoff P, I don't know where he is. I don't know where he's gone. He said he's not James Harden. He does it on both sides of the court. Well, the other side got to show up because Luka's busting your head on one end, right? And you're not scoring on the other end. So you need to at least be James Harden. At least if you're not gonna play defense, you better play offense, right? So they're in a 2-2 battle right now with the 7th seed, and Paul George has been my biggest disappointment in the bubble. I expect him to bounce back, but right now he is not playoff P. So that's my overview of the first round coming up. Games. I do expect the Bucks to go ahead and win, get out of that in the next game, move on as they see the rest of the East is swept and they're resting. I don't think Giannis wants to just be hanging out playing ball for 7 games, so I think he understands what he has to come with the next game to go ahead and close that out. But I have been very surprised and intrigued and entertained by bubble basketball. What about you, Dan?
There's a lot to go through.
I know, right?
Firstly, just the fact that I suck at picking teams. Portland have let me down. In fairness to Portland, they played their 8 games as if it was playoff, and so I think they've just run out of steam. And they've got injuries as well. They're not fully healthy. But then who is? So So that's the first one. The second thing is my actual highlight game or series, I should say, has been the Dallas versus the Clippers. It's been an amazing back and forth. I think if Porzingis didn't get ejected, I potentially could see Dallas being 3-1 up, actually. They are giving a run for their money to the Clippers. But also, I've been hearing for all season long, you've got Skip, you've got Colin Cowherd, you've got Chris Broussard, you've got all these analysts, all these famous talkers on TV telling me that the Clippers are going to get their act together in the playoffs and they're going to dominate. Now, it's the playoffs. They still haven't got their act together. They still think they can get it together just like that. It doesn't work that way in sports, and especially in a series, it doesn't work like that. So my thing is, what is going on with the Clippers? Because right now, outside of Kawhi, they don't have that ruthlessness. They don't have that killer edge. They don't have that need to just got the team. And Dallas could really beat them. Because if anyone's been watching the game, even when the game that Dallas lost, it was still pretty close. So Dallas looks like they could probably take it to the Clippers and beat the Clippers. And if they do, boy, who would we say is the favorite to get to the finals? I don't know. And that leaves it very interesting, because while we have got the Lakers, I still think that you give a team that can go big on the Lakers, they'll give them problem, because I'm still not confident on AD. So we'll see. And in the East, look, the Heats look good, but it is the Pacers. They've always had a number. I think the Raptors look incredibly... You know what it is when it comes to sort of... I'm going to start changing the way I talk about teams, because I think the Raptors look incredibly sexy playing the game right now. They are like a Ferrari, a supermodel playing a game. They're doing it with elegance and grace and just sweeping teams. But the problem is they're doing it in a way that you're not talking about. So they're not an Instagram model. They are a supermodel. So you don't necessarily... the world doesn't talk about them that way. What happens is you just know that they're class. Whereas I feel you've got maybe, the Clippers, they're that Instagram model. But then when you break it down, it's the fake bum, the fake breast, the fake lips, all that stuff, and it's just getting there. It's all sight, but no sizzle, no substance. You know what I mean? So that's how I see the Clippers. That's how I see the Raptors, and that's how I'll describe the Raptors. They are a very sexy basketball team right now, and I think they're also driven to get another one for Masai as well, because of what happened in the video. So I think that for me, I have to change my pick, because I'm not gonna lie to you, the Portland ain't going anywhere. Houston is. So I'm going to have to change my pick, but I will still keep the Raptors. I'll say the Raptors look like they're going to get to the finals and represent the East.
So the Instagram models of the West are not going to make it out the first round? You don't think so?
Nah, mate. All sizzle, mate. All hype.
It is LA.
All hype.
It is LA, It is LA. You know how LA, you know what they say about LA.
It's all hype, mate. It's all hype.
We'll see. We'll definitely see how... I do believe the series will go 7, but I do believe when it comes to playoff basketball, experience usually 9 times out of 10 wins. So yes, through 4 games, Luka threw his biggest bullets at them. I do believe Doc Rivers will come back.
Let me interrupt you in that, Chris, because you say experience matters. But who on the who on the Clippers team outside of Kawhi has experience? Because Paul George has not really done anything in the playoffs.
Well, you got to remember Paul George, when he was with Indiana, was able to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, had to battle LeBron James for 3 straight years over there when the Heat were going through their run. And trust me, as a Heat fan, those Pacer boys really put up a fight and gave us a run for our money. And Paul George was a big part of that. So I have to say, though Paul George been stinking it up, if Paul George goes for 30 tonight, are we going to be upset? No. I expect Paul George to bounce back. And if Paul George plays like Paul George can play, they will win in 6. If Paul George does not play the way he's supposed to play, they could potentially lose the series. I think that's how important Paul George is. Just like you say, Porzingis. If Porzingis didn't play the last game and they won. If Porzingis plays consistently, who knows what the hell we could really be talking about here. So if Porzingis doesn't play or isn't healthy, I think Doc has to take advantage of that. And come on, the number one thing, Dan, we could do strategy. We could talk X's and O's. Paul George has to show up. Full stop. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's it. If he shows up and Kawhi is playing the way that he plays, they win. Come on.
Look, I agree. We'll see. Like I said, the Clippers, Instagram model. Not saying that they don't look good. Really unattainable. Slightly fake. Unrealistic. So, we will see. We will see. That doesn't mean they won't get to... doesn't mean they can't beat Dallas. I still think Dallas will beat them. But, when it comes to the final trophy, will they do it? No.
All right. If they get to the championship, you can't be sliding their DMs now.
No, mate. I don't slide on DMs in general. So, that's my raw point. But we'll see.
Clippers DMs.
So, Chris, thanks again for joining us on the extra time. We hope you guys have enjoyed the show. We're going to be on most of the week, actually. We've got no show for the hurry up this week. We'll take sort of our holiday break for the year. But remember to like and subscribe our videos, our YouTube channel, and we are finally on Spotify as well. So remember to like that as well. And leave your comments. We actually want to hear what your thoughts are, whether or not I am out of bounds by calling the Clippers Instagram models and the Raptors the supermodels. So we'll see. But yeah, we'll love to hear from you guys. So remember to like and subscribe and check us again daily for more content on our Instagram and YouTube page. Thank you very much. Big shout
out to Kobe Bean. Mamba forever.
Thank you for listening to Extra Time. Please remember to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at The Sportsheads for all things U.S. sports.